With that, we say hello to you from the CBS Pickleball Studios and welcome you to a first for this remarkable sport that has been taking America by storm. First ever broadcast network telecast of pro pickleball. I'm Brett Haber, pleased to be alongside the veteran pickleball player and commentator Morgan Evans. Morgan, what does this day, this occasion say about the growth of this remarkable sport?
G'day, Brett. The game is absolutely exploding, and today is one of the biggest days out there. Almost 5 million players are enjoying the game around the country, and it is growing like wildfire. They're hopefully watching today. Can't wait for the games.
More than 10,000 pickleball facilities in America right now, and that's growing every day. It's got some very compelling characters. We're going to introduce some of them to you today, starting with the mother-daughter duo from Florida. This is Anna Leigh Waters, the 15-year-old, her mom, Leigh Waters. Is it a surprise to see a 15-year-old be the #1 player in the sport?
Well, yes and no, Brett. Honestly, with those two together, the family atmosphere, and it really speaks to how the game is developing. It's such a social and family-oriented sport. Those two have each other as training partners. They drill time and time again. Iron sharpens iron, and it's no surprise to see them here today.
And they are bangers. That's a term that you will learn and hear throughout the pickleball world. They don't finesse the ball. They hit the daylights out.
No, it is beautiful, blunt force trauma at its finest. Can't wait to see it.
And we can't wait to bring it to you. A first for pro pickleball. You'll see women's doubles followed by men's doubles. Colin and Ben Johns on the way. It is PPA Pickleball from Riviera in LA on CBS right after this.
This CBS Sports Spectacular, the Skechers Summer Pickleball Championships on CBS Sports, is sponsored by Pickle Play, the ultimate pickleball app. Hertz. Let's go. Select Medical, the power of physical therapy. And by Onyx DuraFast 40, the official ball of the PPA.
She's 15 years old. She's pretty impressive. She can play, she can broadcast, and to recap the rules that she's laid out, we're playing best of 3 games. Got to get to 11 and win by 1 in this format. Side-out scoring means that only the serving team can score a point. We'll explain a fast breaker if we get to a deciding game, but Morgan, we've got electronic replay in effect.
Yes, we do. However, when you make a challenge, if you are unsuccessful, it's going to cost you a timeout. And in today's format, they're only going to get 1 timeout per game, so they're going to have to be a little careful about when they use it.
All right, we'll keep you honest on those rules as the action unfolds. We've told you about the mother-daughter duo, the Waters, but for more on their opponents today, let's check in with the third member of our team, Cameron Irwin. Hey, Cameron.
Hey guys, well, you talk about the force of the Waters, but I had a chance to actually catch up with Lucy Kovalova as well as Callie Smith. And I said, what's important to keep in mind when facing the Waters? And they said, well, this is a team that shines in the chaos. They like to play fast. I said, well, how do you counteract that? They told me they have to stay within their own game plan, staying steady and recognizing the opportunities where they can attack or where they can settle into points. Now, I also caught up with Callie, who told me she loves to play fast. So this is a matchup she thrives in. It's going to be interesting to see who wins some of those firefights, because you can guarantee there's going to be more than a handful of them. Back to you guys.
All right, Cameron, thanks, and we'll check in a little bit later on. And it's worth pointing out that even though the Waters tend to get a little more pub as this mother-daughter storyline, it's Callie Smith and Lucy Kovalova who are ranked 1 and 2 in the world in doubles.
That's exactly right. They won the San Clemente event not long ago and the Atlanta tournament as well. So they are the team to beat right now. The Waters are really looking to turn the tables, and this is a fantastic opportunity for them to do just that.
We'll try to also keep you honest on the IDs with the players. For those of you who are watching for the first time, this is the duo of Kovalova and Smith. And like tennis, when you play doubles, you warm up with your partner.
Yep, we're seeing the Waters here. The young lady, Anna Leigh Waters, on the right side, and Leigh Waters on the left. Taking the court now on the left-hand side there with the long braided hair, Callie Smith and Lucy Kovalova. Nice new net cam there. So it'll be Kovalova to start. Serving to Anna Leigh Waters.
Game 1, time in, 0-0-2.
One of the things we heard from the Waters duo is that because Anna Lee is the #1 player in the world, when they play together, a few more balls are going to go Mom's way, aren't they?
Yeah, more than a few. She will certainly see the lion's share of balls, and she's used to it. You know, she really enjoys that pressure situation. She knows her daughter is the force to be reckoned with. On the flip side, it's usually Callie Smith receiving the vast majority of the balls on the other side there. Fantastic drive down the middle, catches the edge of the paddle.
1-1-1.
Overhead put away up the middle. Can you explain the formation the Waters used there where they were stacking on serve?
Yeah, so stacking is a great way to keep two players in their preferred positions. In the case of the Waters, who are serving now, Anna Lee Waters prefers to be on the right-hand side. Ball just floating long. Fantastic exchange. You see how aggressive the Waters are being early on.
2-1-2.
Just a clarification for fans who haven't watched it before. You're hearing the referee count out the score, and he's saying 3 numbers.
Yeah, so the first number is the score of the server, the second number the score of the returning side, and the third number is relative to which serving position. Both players get a chance to serve, so you'll either see a 1 or a 2. The referee there, he is watching the feet, not so much the lines. The players are going to be calling the lines predominantly. That lead referee is Mr. Ron Ponder. He's backed up by Leslie Frank. The tracking referee, Don Stanley, and the video referee, if it comes to it, Dee Dee Jackson.
All right, so that's a side out as Smith and Kovalova take over serving. Trying to go ATP. Explain the abbreviation.
Yes, around the post. It happens a lot more often in pickleball than it does in tennis. Very rare in tennis, obviously. But pickleball, the dimensions of the court do lend itself for that exciting kind of play. 10 years ago, it was rare to see one. 5 years ago, it was rare to see someone defend and around the post. These days, they both happen a couple of times a game. That was almost bait from Lee Waters. Put it up nice and high for the long reach of Lucy Kovalova.
4-2-1.
Almost too easy.
Put away from Mom.
She says, that's how you do it, young lady. Fantastic play. All 4 players engaged.
5-2-1.
Right now, it's the raw aggression of the Waters that's really proving the difference. Second serve now, Lee Waters. She'd love to get that one back. That's her favorite shot.
2-5-1.
The hand signals, much like tennis.
Are there set plays? Do they predetermine when they might poach or cross?
Yes, when they've decided that a third shot player is definitely going to be driving the ball, then very often the other player will disconnect early, move up, and look to intercept or poach. I do prefer the word intercept as opposed to poach. It's got a better connotation, doesn't it?
As long as you're not cooking fish, yes, I agree.
Yes, indeed.
Waters started playing it in 2017 when Anna Lee was just 10. They're from Florida, but they had evacuated because of Hurricane Irma. Just long.
Oh, thought it might have caught the line, but
they had gone up to Pennsylvania to stay with Lee's dad, Anna Lee's grandfather, and he suggested that they play the game for the first time.
And the game of pickleball thanks him.
I'll say.
So 4 points the lead.
They're going to call a TV timeout, and we'll take a break. Anna Lee and Lee Waters with the early lead at Riviera. First game of our women's doubles, 6-2 lead for Anna Lee and Lee Waters. Thoughts so far?
Yeah, often we see them blow out to a good advantage early on before any side really has a chance to catch up and breathe, figure out what they need to do. These two teams have played each other so often. I will not be surprised if Smith and Kovalova mount an effective comeback.
Side out.
Serve long from Anna Lee.
2-6-1.
And referee Ron Ponder has called a foot fault.
Can't hit a volley from the kitchen.
Yes, yeah, you and your momentum cannot bring you into the kitchen after playing a volley.
Point.
And that ball is called long, so they close the gap by 1.
3-6-2.
Lee Waters, she loves a good heads-up battle. Happy to dink down the line, even though the reach of Lucy Kovalova is formidable.
Lee says that she sometimes gets so concerned with making sure that her daughter has what she needs on the road that she forgets to prepare for herself as an athlete. Doesn't take care of her nutrition, her training, her stretching, because she gets into mom mode.
Well, from what I've seen this year especially, she has raised her level to a point where she really belongs in this match.
Cross-court exchange between Lucy and Lee, and Kovalova gets the better of it.
Yeah, it looked like for the majority of that rally, Lee Waters was playing the more aggressive dinks cross-court. However, one opportunity and Kovalova pounces. And that ball sails just wide. That was a beautiful reset in there from Callie Smith.
3-6-2.
How about the defense from Smith and Kovalova?
They were stretched all the way around the Riviera on that one. Managed to squeak it back. As they say, just one more ball. Just get one more back and you never know.
time the reflexes from the waters, and one of the differences you'll notice as you watch the sport compared to tennis is the pacing between points is so rapid. It prevents, in many cases, us from showing you some of the replays because they're back at it so quickly.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And after the score is called by the referee, players do have 10 seconds only to serve the ball.
Well left, there are no changeovers except at the end of a game, unless we get to a deciding game, in which case they change ends when one team gets to 6.
Yeah, Anna-Leigh Waters now on the left-hand side of the court as contrast to her typical position.
What would be the reasoning for that switch?
Often it's just liking the heads-up battle. So right now, Anna-Leigh is in front of Lucy Kovalova. That may be because she backs her chances in hand-speed exchanges, but also maybe to protect Leigh Waters from that same matchup. It's a good-looking lob.
And another one, but just long. The lob has become a bigger part of tactical pickleball in the last year or so, hasn't it?
Yeah, especially in this last year. A couple of fantastic pros have really embraced the lob. Callum Dawson, one of, if not the best, AJ Kohler, Matt Wright. The girls are having a good time with it.
All right, challenge here.
We have a challenge.
This is on the lob from Smith and Kovalova. Did it or did it not go over the baseline? They'll take a look at the review. We'll come back with the verdict. All right, the replay review has just been completed. That ball was confirmed out, so the challenge was successful. Let's go down to Cameron.
Yeah, guys, it's so interesting because you watch the pace of play, and one of the hardest aspects of this game is the fact that the ball is traveling at such a fast pace, and you're having to chase that ball down. That one was off a lob. It was intriguing because it actually was overturned here on the court, and then that challenge came into play, which was then overturned yet again. So one of the nice ways that you're starting to see technology invested into this game, you got to love that this one was called the right direction.
All right, most important thing is getting it right. They've got technology at their disposal. Here's another look. That's the first lob, which was clearly good, and this is the one that was challenged.
Yeah, not much in it, but in the end, ball was called out. So they've taken another small timeout here just to reset.
So Smith and Kovalova keep their timeout because the challenge was successful. Bear in mind that the Waters, for all the success they're having, took the 2020 year, the pandemic year, entirely off from pickleball. The sport continued, but because Anna-Leigh homeschools with Leigh's parents, her grandparents, and the risk to older people of the infection and the serious effects from COVID, they didn't want to travel and take that risk, and so they stayed home completely and still are at this level.
Yeah, I mean, they used the time wisely. Callie Smith with a good-looking overhead through the middle. The defense of the Waters on full display, though.
4-9-1.
Yeah, just a little tentative there from Lucy Kovalova. She typically would put two hands on the paddle and grip it and rip it.
4-9-2.
Big hit from Leigh Waters.
She has one of, if not the best, overhead in the game. It's phenomenal to see her move into position and just be so deadly accurate with that overhead. Only 2 points away now from game one. Make that 1 point.
Game point coming for the Waters with Mom Leigh serving.
10-4-1.
That's long side out.
Yeah, beautiful counter punch there from Callie Smith. Moving in, squashing it out in front.
10-4-2.
And she's missed a sitter.
Side out. 14-1.
Well, that's a big risk, unfortunately, at this stage of the game for Kovalova. However, their team on serve couldn't lose a point. It's a big factor in how the professionals play.
Point. Back 10-2.
All right, that will be a side out.
So we'll have 2 serves to get 1 point. A little bit of discussion between mother and daughter. And this is a very new tactic. You typically don't see this.
High formation on serve, and it does not pay a dividend.
It's been a while since I've seen them attempt that. High risk, high reward.
What are they accomplishing with that?
Well, a lot of it is, firstly, a bit of a distraction to opponents, and the opponents are going to look towards the net player as a good target. If you hit them, that's your point. So what it does is it has an effect of drawing the return of serve kind of where you want. If you want the return to come back down the middle, chances are they're going to be going for that net player.
Just long from Annalee. Getting tighter here.
It is. Yeah, we're not far away from a little bit of pressure mounting on the Waters.
16-1.
And the 5th player on the court, the net, getting involved.
This is Kovalova.
And that ball sails long, giving back the serve to AL.
Timeout, Waters.
Waters call a timeout with game points coming on their serve. It'll be Annalee trying to close out this first game when we come back to LA. Something Lee Waters was and technically still is an attorney, but 3 years ago she gave up the court of law for the court of pickleball, and now they travel together, mother and daughter, around the world.
It is an endearing story, to say the least.
So game points here. Annalee serving.
Line in. 10-6-1.
Just an off-pace drop there from Kovalova. The Waters are so accustomed to Smith and Kovalova really fighting back, and that feeds into often their advantage. Chaos, as Cameron Irwin puts it.
And that'll do it from Annalee Waters as she and Mom Lee wrap up game number 1.
That last point was a fantastic display of just how athletic Annalee Waters is, able to get that ball back cross-court when both her opponents thought possibly around the post.
All right, the duo from Delray Beach take game number 1. This is best of 3 as we get going with Pickleball's network TV debut live from Pacific Palisades. Back with more. Live in Pacific Palisades, California, Riviera Country Club, first match of our Skechers Invitational. First game to the Waters duo. Who was the MVP on
on court in that first game?
You'd have to give it to Annalie Waters. Her closing positions there were spot on. However, they're such a good team together. I think once you start sharing genetic code with your partner, there's just a way of knowing when they're going to pull the trigger, what areas of the court they're going to be able to get to. And there's such a synergy that we see with the Waters, and we see it with Riley and Lindsay Newman.
0-0-2.
All right, as this game gets underway, let's go down to Cameron.
Hey guys, you know it's interesting because I caught up with both Callie and Lucy and I asked them why they enjoy playing so much together. We saw that late push from them as this rally goes on. And we saw that late push from them in game number 1, and it's interesting because they talked about each other's personalities, how much of a sweetheart Callie is, and I love this. Lucy saying, yeah, I'm not that. But what makes them great, you guys, is the fact that their communication is always on point. I got a chance to watch them in between games, and they were very energized, very communicative, and we saw so much of that switch. They evaluate that on the spot, and they communicate beautifully to be able to execute some of those switches, you guys.
That would seem to be the one area where the Waters would have a built-in advantage, being mother and daughter, but Smith and Kovalova matching them.
Yeah, certainly so much of it in the Waters camp is non-verbal. They don't need to talk quite so much. Kovalova and Smith certainly talk a lot on the court, very loud with each other. But it's the Waters that really got off to a good start there, picking up where they left off in game 1.
1-4-1.
On the game break, they each had a chat with their coach. In the case of Smith and Kovalova, it's Callie's husband and coach Kyle. In the case of the Waters, it's dad to Anna Lee and husband to Lee. That's Stephen Waters.
Well, he's a smart man. He generally stays out of everything technical, tactical. I'm not even sure he gets involved with hydration. Lee Waters is a coach for Anna Lee in her singles, and generally has a good guiding hand in the doubles as well. But it's always a team effort.
Oh, big swing from Anna Lee.
Yeah, and if it looks a lot like a tennis forehand, it's where it was built in her game.
5-1-1.
Started off as a tennis player and a phenomenal soccer player, actually.
Take another look at this big forehand from Anna Lee.
Closing in. Reminds you a little bit of Sharapova, right? A young swinging volley Sharapova.
Okay. Maria was never much for the overhead. She liked those swinging volleys.
She loved them, didn't she? Yeah. Referee Ron Ponder just...
Just a second. We've got an inadvertent phone going off, and we thought you could hear it.
There was a phone.
Kind of a rockin' too, though. Yes, ma'am.
Possibly Sugar Ray Leonard.
Did you catch Ray in the crowd? This is Riviera. This is L.A.
Yeah.
We're told this is going to be a star-studded crowd this afternoon. This is the home of some of the biggest celebrity pickleball players out there right now. 5-time champ of the world this year.
Another great close for Anna Lee in the middle.
Here's the champ. Big tennis fan, pickleball fan.
6-1-2.
How he's in his 60s is passing understanding. Oh, overhead framed. And that goes flying.
Yeah, it looked like it just caught her by surprise. Lee Waters throwing up that lob
7-1-2.
out of the air. And Some return fire from Callie Smith, finding a short angle. Beautiful technique.
On the retreat, this overhead from Callie Smith.
Yes, ma'am. 171.
So let's see if they can't start closing the gap.
Second serve.
But Lee Waters unafraid. That's part of the game that has really increased a lot in the last year as well. Those cross-court attacks. So often, traditionally, attacks were going down the line or the middle.
Dink does not get over the net, and so that will be a side-out 7-1 decisive edge for the Waters. They've got the first game in their pockets. So, first game to the Waters, 7-1 lead in the second. They have caught a gear and are running with it.
Yes, right now it looks like Kovalova and Smith haven't found the answer yet. One of the things that they're used to is seeing Annalie Waters on the right-hand side of the court. Right now she's playing on the left and has done so very, very well.
7-1-1.
That'll make
Beautiful
it
drop.
Traditionally, the better player plays on the left.
Yeah, we often we call it the alpha player, just the left side player. It's typically to keep that middle forehand for them. However, in women's doubles, often it's the other way around, because the two-handed backhand has proved so dominant for many of the women on tour that the right-hand side player, there's an argument for that being the dominant.
So in general, Annalie Waters plays the right, which is contrary to traditional tactics. Today she's playing mostly on the left.
Yeah, she started off on the right-hand side, and she is there now, but we'll see if they switch. Kovalova, that's not a dink you typically see her miss. Generally so solid, but she is backing up off the line more than normal. I think some of the severe offense from both Lee and Annalie may be pushing her off the line slightly, but a good lead from her.
So point on the second serve as they get their second of this game.
2-8-2.
Lee Waters looks like she's calling for the fake.
Side out.
And she draws the ball in that direction.
All right, so Kovalova, the Slovakian native, 30 years old, gives way as Annalie serves here. 3 points from the win.
And that one just cramping up Lee Waters.
So second serve for Lee.
8-2-2.
Reflex to take the first one off the tape, but could not handle the second.
Yeah, it is surprisingly difficult to be able to do what she just did there. Take a ball that catches the tape and still do something well with it.
2-8-1.
They deserve the ball back. They're staying offensive even when they're returning serve. It's typically a time of the game where you generally need to be more conservative. You can easily lose a point with a high-risk play.
You mentioned that Annalie is also a fine soccer player. She only committed full-time to pickleball, giving up soccer less than a year ago. She had an offer from an academy team of one of the Bundesliga clubs in Germany to go over there and train full-time in soccer.
Wow. But Lee Waters, mother of Annalie, takes care of business there. I'm sure she doesn't waste an opportunity to tell her, taught you everything you know. Oh, just a miscommunication on that middle ball. Annalie getting ahead of her mum, creating a bit of a gap. The cone of death, we call it. It's the same term in tennis.
8-3-2.
And that means a lot to Kovalova. She needs to get into a good rhythm with those cross-court dinks especially.
Kovalova, former college tennis player at Wichita State, class of 15. Lee Waters off the tape and over the rackets of her opponents.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little bit of an indecision if that was going to be a Kovalova forehand or a Smith backhand. And it just cost them a contact height and gave Waters a good chance to put that one away with a little help from the net.
Mom, Lee Waters, also a college tennis player, played at University of South Carolina, class of 2001.
8-3-1.
So now 3 points away from tying this one up. Sorry, closing this one up. One more net tape helps the cause of Smith and Kovalova.
Second serve coming here.
They have been stuck on 8 for quite some time.
That time, the Waters make it work off the tape, so they get to 9, 2 points from the win. Pickleball continues live on CBS. A great look at some of the fast twitch muscles, the unworldly reflexes of these four superstars.
All four players strutting their stuff in the main event here. The reflexes and the swinging volleys from all four really on full display.
So 43-year-old Lee Waters and her 15-year-old daughter Anna Lee Waters up a game in 9-3 in the second. This is Mom Lee Waters serving, trying to close this thing out. They are ranked 3 and 4 in the world. Their opponent, Smith Kovalova, ranked 1 and 2.
Yeah, the last two tournaments, Smith and Kovalova have gotten the better of them in the finals.
Lob sets up the forehand put away.
Yeah, so far for me, it's been the diversity of Team Waters that has separated the two teams so far, introducing more and more of the lobs, keeping Anna Lee in different sides of the court, making sure she's a difficult target to find.
This is match point. They try to pick on Mom, but it does not work as the Waters duo takes the women's doubles at Riviera.
Lee played lights out, especially in that second game. She gets targeted so often, but she rises to the occasion once again here today at the Riviera.
They have won an awful lot
This is the one they wanted as dad/husband. Steven gives him a hug and a congratulations. The Waters getting so much attention, Morgan, and living up to it today.
Yes, no, certainly they're used to this kind of pressure now. They have been in the limelight for so long. Nothing away from Callie Smith and Lucy Kovalova, phenomenal players. Still going to be ranked #1 out there.
But for the moment, the celebration is on the Waters side of the net. Anna Lee and Lee take the doubles. Much more to come from Riviera. Men's doubles on the way with world #1, Ben Johns. Anna Lee Waters won her first career title all the way back when she was 12. That was 3 years ago. Now she's 15 and she's still winning. She and mom, Lee Waters, take the doubles title at Riviera in straight games. Let's go down and hear from our winners with Cameron Irwin.
All right, guys, well, I have a pretty happy crew down here. Let's start off going back to game #1. It seemed like you guys came out from the very beginning very aggressive. Was that the game plan going on, and how did it evolve through game #1?
Yeah, that was definitely the game plan. We're really aggressive players, both of us, so when we're playing aggressive, we're usually winning. So we decided to come out here and just play aggressive, and that's what we did first game and second game.
Now, we saw a couple different switches in terms of sides played. What was the communication like, and at what point did you feel like that became necessary against these two?
Yeah, I mean, they're great players, and so we knew there were going to be a lot of swings point-wise, and so as soon as we lost a few points in a row, we decided to just switch it up. Annalie and I have gotten comfortable on both sides, which I think is one of the advantages of us as a team.
Now, there was also one point, I think it was the match point, if you go back to game #1, we saw I formation. That was something new to me in pickleball. Explain that, and why did you guys go about doing it that way?
Well, we hadn't won a point in quite a bit, so we were like, just switch it up. But as long as my mom didn't hit the ball out of the air, we were good. So I was hoping to get like a poach, and we didn't win the point, but it was fun to do anyway.
All right, now this is the first time for a national audience. What does it mean to be a part of this competition?
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing for the sport in general, just to be out here. It was amazing for 4 females to be the first on a major network playing pickleball. So let's go, ladies.
All right, well, I think it's time to maybe get some hardware. Let's bring on over Connor Pardo, the CEO of the PPA Tour, and I'm going to hand it off to you.
On behalf of the PPA Tour, Skechers, and CBS, we present you here with this trophy. Congratulations, it was an honor to win the first match on national TV. And let's give a big round of applause for these girls, everybody. What a match, what a treat. Thanks, Cameron, really appreciate it, guys, great playing.
All right, well, I think it's time we get into the men's matchup. I'm going to send it back over to you, Brett and Morgan.
All right, guys, thanks again, and congratulations to the Waters. Another trophy. That's going to be a rather crowded mantle on the Waters family fireplace. They're going to have to buy a bigger boat.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to open a new wing in the mansion to house some of these trophies.
All right, so they've got a bunch, and Ben Johns has even more. The dominant men's player in World Pickleball is up next. Men's doubles on the way from Riviera.